Welcome, everyone, to A Call for Judgment. I want to thank Sean over on the website for sharing this story with me. This story is now actually gaining traction over the last 24 hours. People are starting to notice this story, and they should notice this story because this is exactly things that I've been talking about over the years. Many people have been talking about, and that is that no big deal, by the way. This isn't a big deal. This isn't something you should be worried about. Amazon shut down a man's smart home. Excuse me, let me reiterate, smart home, not phone. Yeah, home, his house, after a delivery driver wrongfully accused him of making a racist remark. Now, in this insane society we're currently living in, I could obviously see liberals support this. Now, you might see the word racist marked, blurred off the screen. That's just for the algorithm, by the way, to get around the algorithm, because it automatically flags terms like that. But I can see liberal people in today's society, of course, supporting this because it's all about behavioral control, right? When Larry Fink of BlackRock, BlackRock, who owns everything, every media, all the real estate, et cetera, has their hand in everything, came out and said, we want to control people's behavior. Well, they are already. They're controlling people's behavior through mind control, through weakening society. This is basic communism strategy. And on top of that, not just weakening society, controlling society's thoughts through the media, which he runs. So we actually have absolutely moronic people out there who support this. They're like, well, he shouldn't have said that. And this is about controlling speech, controlling what you say. This is why they've constantly used words like the N-word and other words that we hear throughout society. Why have they used those words and constantly done stories about those words and how sensitive we should be about words instead of saying they're just words and your words should have consequences? You should be allowed to have an altercation with somebody over words if you want. No. If you actually breathe on somebody in today's society, it's assault. So words is assault as well, right? Because what's the difference? That's what we've gotten to. So listen to this horror. And by the way, you may remember, I've covered this before. There's tons of movies with predictive programming. Big Bug. There's a new one called Inside with William Dafoe, the Satanist, of course, who played the role of Jesus in a blasphemous Last Temptation of Christ by Scorsese, which is just one of the most blasphemous films out there, which is just depicts, it's blasphemy is really what it is. And of course, they love William Dafoe because he did that portrayal, but there's tons of movies with predictive programming about this. So on Wednesday, Amazon confirmed that it shut down a man's smart home after a delivery truck driver misheard and wrongly accused him of making a racist remark through his smart doorbell. Brandon Jackson, a Baltimore, Maryland resident, claimed that Amazon locked him out of his smart devices on May 25th. He explained that many of the devices in his home, including his lights, are connected to his Amazon Echo, which he was unable to access for weeks. So it makes sense for all of us to allow the government to have access over our thermostats, right? Remember I covered a couple weeks ago how Canada's actually paying people. Whenever the government pays you, like remember recently they were paying people with gift cards to go get a certain something. Whenever the government's paying you, be suspicious, really suspicious. But it's for the climate, of course, because the government cares. So the government's actually paying people to put in smart thermometers or thermostats inside of their homes so that, it helps the environment. I mean, so they can control the temperature, So when it's real cold out, they'll make sure it's real cold in. You know what I mean? What happened to Chuck? Oh, he died. How'd he die? Frostbite. Oh, man, I thought Chuck had a nice home. Oh, he did. He died in his bedroom. Why didn't he put the heat on? Oh, the government locked it. They wouldn't let him. Why? Why would they do that? Climate change, man. Climate change. Yeah, that makes sense. So an article posted on Medium, Jackson explained that the misunderstanding left me with a half of devices, a silent Alexa, and a lot of questions. When Jackson reached out to Amazon to find out why he was locked out, he was told in a somewhat accusatory tone that a delivery driver had reported hearing a racist remark while dropping off a package at his home. Oh, so that gives them the right to shut your home down, right? That gives them the right to turn your heat off, turn off, turn it all off, right? But let's continue to watch shows like HGTV or watch celebrities who continue to subliminally market this stuff. Right? Like, oh, it's a smart home. Cool. It's a spool. Up and turn the lights on. I could do it from my phone. Oh, great. And soon you'll be able to blink and turn your lights on and off. And then, soon the government will be able to blink and turn your lights. See where we're headed here? Oh, right. But it's not the government. And by the way, this is something that happens in China all the time. This is footprint. This is what I'm warning about. This is getting people prepared for the carbon footprint, that this is controlling people's speech. Can anyone say anything? Really, like what word is so Make someone be okay with the government, or excuse me, Amazon, a corporation, by the way, turning off your electricity. What if this guy had a baby, a newborn baby, and they just shut off all, the guys and his wife aren't able to, warm milk or get, whatever it could be, it's run on city water. So the faucet or well water, the faucet's off, we aren't able to use that because it's well water, right? So your electricity's off, so you can't get water out. No big deal, right? They have the right to do that. What world am I living in? Where this is allowed? What world am I living in? No one was home when the alleged comment was made. Oopsies. He reviewed security footage and found that his EUFY doorbell had given the driver the automated response, "Excuse me, can I help you?" Additionally, he noticed that the driver was walking away and wearing headphones at the time and may have misheard the doorbell's automatic reply. Oh, okay, so we'll take the driver's word. Process, no court, by the way. Not that this should ever go to court, right? It's a word. Say hypothetically he did say it. They don't have a right to do anything. They don't. But, in today's society, we'll take the person's word for it. I guess he was a liberal and he must have rang the doorbell of a conservative or a Christian because that's the way this is headed, right? He calls up, he says, somebody said a racist term. They go, oh, no problem. We'll buzz you into Jeff Bezos and turn it off. Now, you could say this might not be a true story or it could be a true story. I'm reading the article from The Blaze, so you could take it for what it's worth. However, if the story like this is out there and it's starting to get pumped around, the ability of the government to do this is already known. So all they're doing is seed planting anyway, telling you that, look, if you watch what you say or we'll shut your power off. So it has the same effect one way or the other, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Because somebody's going to think twice, like, oh my gosh. What they really should be thinking twice about is having smart devices. The first thing, if I owned an Amazon Echo and I heard this, is I would get an axe, a flamethrower, and eat as much Chipotle and Taco Bell as possible. And you could think of the combination of all that put together. Right? Then I need Imodium afterwards. But I would destroy the thing, dismantle the thing. But I'm not dumb enough to own one. So if there's somebody out there who owns one, don't be offended when I say you're dumb enough to own. Just listen to a story like this and start understanding where this is headed. Okay? Start understanding where this is headed. So Jackson sent the video evidence to Amazon, which took several days to review it. Yeah, no big deal. We'll get back to you in a few days. Oh, your running water's off? Don't worry about it, man. Go find bottled water somewhere. Oh, you're locked in the house? You actually can't get out of the house? Because remember, these homes have like smart locks, like that movie Big Bug, or like both those movie clips, right? Inside the home, right? So I'm sure, he'd probably lock him in the home. He said he was locked out of his smart devices when the company conducted an internal investigation. What right do they have to do that? 6 days later, he regained access to his account. Are you joking me over an accusation without due process? Well, he said he did it, so we'll believe him because above all else, we'll let murderers run amok. We'll let people out of prison based on their skin color, based on their political affiliation. But if you say something that hurts someone's feelings, that's where this is headed. We will shut the whole home down. And this will be enough of a threat for people to watch what they say, right? These people are complete psychopaths. They're psychopaths. Bezos, all of them. Completely insane. Who has the power to even do that? Should that person not be sued instantly? Should the government, if this is a true story, the government should be bringing in this executive from Amazon today into Congress. This is a violation of civil rights. Now, I'm not saying the story's true or not because we know a lot of times these stories are fake, but the agendas are always there behind the story. They don't put a story out there just to play with your head. Well, they do. All the stories play with their head, but they don't just put a story out there for no reason, right? There's an agenda behind it. There's seed planting. There's desensitizing people. So they say if someone bought and paid for a device, they should be able to use it at least on their own property if it doesn't hurt anyone else. I'm only pushing this story so that this won't happen to anyone else, regardless of their race, religion, beliefs. If you paid for it, you should own it. So Simon Griffin, an Amazon spokesperson, told the news outlet, "We work hard to provide customers with a great experience while also ensuring drivers who deliver Amazon packages feel safe." Oh, right. So the guy says, you say the guy said the word through the Ring device, okay? They're not even face to face. There's a door between them. To them, it's worse for the guy to say a racial comment through the device than if the guy opened the door and was like, I will, you know what, you, right? This is more offensive, of course, to the communist liberals. So, and again, it really has nothing to do with any of these people being offended. It has to do with control. So, it goes on to say, in this case, we learned through our investigation that the customer did not act inappropriately and were working directly with the customer to resolve their concerns while also looking at ways to prevent a similar situation from happening again. If I was the customer, I would own a percentage of Amazon right now, if that happened to me, if this is a legit story or not, right? There's like, we're looking into ways to resolve the customer's concerns to make sure it doesn't happen to him again or anyone else. Oh, you're not like worried you're going to get sued. You're not like looking, saying, oh crap, how do we pay this guy off? So the story doesn't get, oh, okay, right. So these are the types of things you can expect in a communist society. A society that is under total control. A society where the government has the ability to dictate where you go and when you go there. A government has the ability to shut your car down. Get it with the electric car? Now, does anyone out there get it yet? The government has the ability to shut down your home. Now you might be like, well, Amazon. Well, in a communist order, corporations are working with the communist order. They're the ones in control. They're all working together. Okay? Why do you think all these corporations have gone woke? They're all pushing the narrative. Nobody out there is like, you know what? I'm going to avoid all this stuff because, I don't want to lose money. No, every one of them is just decides to go woke, even though they see Target losing billions and all these other companies losing billions and Home Depot, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody's like, hey, you know what matters when you own a business? The bottom line, how much money you make. Oh, no, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Being woke does, right? Being sensitive, that's all that matters. We got to make sure that there's situations like our company accessing somebody's device. Nobody, by the way, is even talking about the fact that Amazon was able to access his Echo and do these things, right? That's normal, right? Just like when those stories came out years ago that I covered, where the Amazon Echo and the Google Home and all these things, oh, they solve crimes. If not for the Echo, we wouldn't have heard the domestic dispute. And then if you realize who did what to who or how the crime happened, oh, wow, well, that's great. We all should have one in our home. Like the story I did the other day about Gen Y, right? Or Gen Z. What was the story? Oh, the story was that a large percentage of them are in support of a surveillance home, that the government can watch what we're doing at all times. Brain dead. Unbelievable. So I've been warning about stuff like this. I'm not screaming and yelling because I believe the story is actually true. I'm screaming and yelling about the narrative in the story that they're putting out there, because anyone who reads this, they should be asking the questions I just asked, but they'll really just be like, oh yeah, well, he shouldn't have said that, He shouldn't have said that. Really? Oh, okay. So I'm sure if somebody came to my door with eggs on, what are they going to do on mischief night, by the way? I mean, somebody came to my door and they were like Christians or bigots and all this stuff. Would somebody come arrest them? Because I wouldn't want that, I would just want to be able to debate back and forth or say what my piece back to the person. Wouldn't wish harm on him. That's his choice, Spending eternity in hell, that's up to him if that's what he wants, right? That's the world we should be living in. That was the society we once had. But this is the new society, right? Behavioral control, just the notion of something like this being okay. Just the notion. How could the notion of this even be okay? Right? How is this even a story? How are we even giving technology the ability to open and close our doors or turn our lights on? And you might be like, well, we allow the power companies to and things like that. Well, it's a little bit different, but yeah, and I guess in a sense, we all are better off living like the Amish, of course, but too little, too late, right? As they say. I mean, I wish I grew up Amish, that's for sure. That is for sure. But technology is going to be the end of society. Of course, technology is going to be what restrains society. Everybody's obviously aware of the AI beast system. It's going to have to do with the mark. It's going to have to do with everything. So artificial intelligence is the downfall of humanity. And we continue to promote it, not regulate it. And most people can't live without it. That's the scariest part. So no big deal, folks. Nothing to see here. Just, a home lockdown, electricity shut off. All because somebody said something offensive to somebody through their, through a doorbell, but it turned out it wasn't real, so they just jumped to conclusions. So don't worry about the 6 days the guy didn't have power or anything else. Yeah, sounds really locked out of his devices, right? Wasn't able to turn the air on, right? Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God help us all and your families.